Hi, my name is Dr. Dylesia. I am a licensed therapist and a mother daughter trauma recovery expert. And today I have the pleasure of filming an episode of Ask Dr. Dylesia, which is a show on my network, Mother Daughter Trauma Recovery TV, where women write in and they ask questions that are pertaining specifically to their relationship with their mom or just something that they're thinking about or wondering in the mother daughter trauma, conflict, or wounding space. So we have 4 questions today and I am excited to hop right into them. So, number one is, why was my mom so awful to me when her relationship with her mom is good? So, to this person, I want to say that sometimes what we see is not exactly what's going on. I know obviously you have looked at your mom and her mom and you've observed that their relationship is at the very least better than you and your mom's relationship. But we never really know how your mom actually is internalizing the space that they're in. She might, if she's self aware, she might be aware of how she feels about it, or she may not be completely aware of what her feelings are about how your grandmother has showed up for her, how your grandmother has attended to her emotionally, how your grandmother has, navigated like different spaces and challenges in their relationship, and whether or not she's shown accountability when there were times where your mother needed her to. So I think that what I want to say is what we see is not always what the reality is. And, usually when I'm working with women, there is some sort of trauma that has happened in the relationship with their mother's mother, that is causing the mom to show up the way she is. So I'll be a little surprised if there was nothing there. There might be something there that your mom has not shared, and that not sharing could either be not being aware, or either it could be societal values or norms that are causing her to push it down and not talk about it, because we know a lot of people, they feel like that's your mom, you can't really have a problem with her. But for whatever reason, she's not sharing. And that doesn't mean that it doesn't have an impact on all the relationships that she has, including the one with you. So again, I think that there's something there that you may not be aware of, and that's creeping in and showing up and causing her to show up awfully for you. So that's my first question. Second question we have is actually super funny. So shout out to you. I know you weren't trying to be funny. This is just your life. But this person says, I think as women, we are logical. So although it may be hard, we eventually get to this point. But please tell me how we ever make mama boy men see that their mamas ain't shit. I'm struggling so bad with my fiance. So this question made me chuckle, especially because she put a lot of it in capitalized, like all caps. And I was like, girl, are you serious? And you screaming at me. But no, so really, I'm with you. I'm with the shits, right? But at the end of the day, we really have to take it back and be psychologically sound. And the thing is, the only way you're going to teach somebody that someone else is not a good person, or, not the best for them, or not treating them the way they should be treated, is modeling. I talk about this so much on my Instagram. There was actually a post that I did on my anniversary week where my husband and I were like walking down the street. If you want to go search for that post, and I was talking about how he never pushed me to, estrange from my mom or anything like that. He really just showed me what love was. And after a while, I was able to compare that with what I was getting from my mom. And there were stark differences. It was pretty obvious. So I would say, sis, you funny. Keep that sense of humor and hang in there, okay? Hang in there. Try not to. And I know it's so freaking hard. Oh, I know it's hard. It's hard to see the things happening and not say anything about it. It's hard to know that a mom should act alternatively to how maybe now she's your mother-in-law. I don't know, when you got married or if you're still a fiance, but your future mother-in-law, if you're a fiance, it's hard to watch her be a mom and do it so poorly, and you want to make all those comments. But I want you to know that the comments actually don't help. They really just, put him in a compromising position. You have to allow him to come to those conclusions on his own. And the only way to do that is to just hold your tongue as much as possible, because again, those comments are not really going to help. In your heart of heart what's right and wrong. But again, you have to let him get to that point. So keep it to yourself. Pray. Pray so that you can keep it to yourself, and just show that man what love from a woman looks like. And eventually, it's a very long road. It will pay off, okay? And obviously, y'all can also go to therapy as well. We actually do therapy at my private practice for couples who are going through this. So either one or both of the partners in the unit have some sort of mother stuff going on. It could be mother son trauma, mother daughter trauma, and we work with them to help them come to a point where they see that and really are both motivated to figure out how to get those manifestations from attacking their union. So feel free to look in the description box below if you want to work with us, and we can definitely help you with that. All right, so third question is, what about parents that cut us off? So this is an interesting question. Obviously I work a lot of times with women who are in the position of deciding that they want to cut their mom off because their mom is toxic and she's impacting their life. But every once in a while there is a time where I get a client who their parent is the person on the other side who doesn't want anything to do with them. And I will say, as a woman whose mom was very standoffish, not very interpersonally savvy at all, and a lot of people did not quite understand how my mom was able to detach from me the way that she was after I did make the choice to, estrange. People were really expecting, like, okay, she's going to come back. Okay, now you're pregnant. You have twin girls. Like, what grandmother can resist reaching out to you? And I would always tell people, like, my mom, because you don't know my mom. You don't understand how she is. My mom was the type of person where she wasn't going to, like, throw herself on you, is what she's thinking. So once you made a choice or a decision to not be a part of her life, she was going to be 10 toes down on that. It didn't really matter who you were. She definitely, I would say, of one of the lessons I've learned from her is certainly how to navigate being in a space where I no longer want to be in relationship with someone. That's something that I can do a lot better than most people because I watched her do it. Now, obviously, I have to have, some sort of reasonability with that because I'm not trying to be her. But I say all that to say I understand what space you are in, because my mom definitely was detached. And to that detachment, I want to say that you're not missing out on anything. I know it feels like you are. You watch everybody else have a mom. You watch everybody else, get affirmed. You watch everybody else get all these special treatments, and they're really not special. It's just their moms being moms. But to you, you haven't ever seen that happen, and you want that. You long for it. You crave it. It's probably the thing you think about the most when you are waking up in the morning and going to sleep at night. But if your parent is able to cut you off, then there's a level of objectification that's happening from them to you, and the relationship is not going to be what you think it's going to be anyway. If your parent is able to objectify you, that means they don't see you as a human. Almost, like, of course it's a spectrum, so obviously they may not see you as an object per se, but objectification is somewhere in the midst of how they view you. And for that reason, they would always treat you like an object if they were in your life. And the only way y'all would have the relationship that you are wanting to have and that you're seeing other people have with their parent is they will have to completely change. And someone who's able to objectify their child in the way that you are being objectified, the way that my mom objectified me, they really lack interpersonal skills, and they are unable to build relationships. And you might see this person have other relationships with other people, and you're like, well, why can't she just give me that? That people are different. There are different versions of ourselves that show up in different relationships, and something about the dynamic that you two have and how she's narrated that to herself in her head is triggering her and causing her to clam up. And we don't know what that story is that she's telling herself, but I want to tell you that you are being protected by not being an active part of that storyline. So I want you to love on yourself. I want you to become your own mother. And I know that that sounds so hard. I know it's hard. I'm going to recommend that you look down in the description box below as well and check into how to work with me and my practice so that we can help you with this, because there certainly is a way to get the craving to at least stop so that you can start to build your own life. All right, so our last question, it is a long one, so you'll see me flipping a couple different times on my cue cards, but here we go. I'm seriously asking, how do you do it? Like just one day out of nowhere, you block her, or you just don't ever respond to her messages anymore. I just recently moved out of my brother's house with my mother, who also lives there. I lived there for 3 long years and ended up getting pregnant. And due to the toxicity and excessive abuse, I honestly believe I was made into having preeclampsia. That's a medical condition you can get during pregnancy, just FYI, due to all the stress. It was a terrible 28 weeks and ended up having a C section and had my baby boy. It was hell for a whole year. My mother would not respect my boundaries with my son and would heavily disrespect my husband. Well, we finally got ourselves a place, and I swear she's not having it. She's calling me every day, and it can only be at night, coming up with random things to claim our mind that I left at their house, and if I don't respond, threatening to get the cops involved. Which, mind you, is why we never told them our new address because of this fear that they will try to get CPS involved or police. It's that serious, and I just want to be free. So, first of all, thank you so much for sending in this question. Y'all send me long questions, short questions, medium-sized questions. I don't care because I know that there's no other space for you to get this kind of dialogue. So, I don't mind. Send me whatever you need to send me. And if I got to be flipping cue cards the whole time or we have to dedicate an entire episode to your question, that is what we will do because I'm in this fight with y'all. So, thank you so much for sending that in, sis. Now, there are a couple things that kind of stand out for me in this particular situation. So you asked, how do we cut someone off? That's obviously going to be a customized approach that, for me is might look different than it did for you. So I can't give one blanket answer on how you get to the point where you are going to decide this is no longer for me. But that's something that obviously we could work through in therapy. So definitely, if you want to, description box, click the link, make sure you sign up. So anybody who, is giving you like this generalized approach to cutting someone off, it needs to be personalized to your situation. Because I don't know what your feelings are. I don't know what your thoughts are. I don't know what your value systems are. And we're really going to have to break all of those down to get you to the point where you're able to rationalize even getting, to a space where your mom is somebody that you no longer talk to. So that would be something that we have to personalize more. What I will say that stands out about me for this that I can answer on camera is that there seems like a lot of fear in the midst of this. There's a lot of, and I understand because you're being tortured and harassed by your mother. So fear makes sense, but I want you to know that her bark is a lot louder than her bite. I have been in a situation when I was younger. My mom grew up with a very, very toxic family. So some of the ways that they got back at each other were, just crazy stuff. So we actually had CPS called on us when I was younger. And the claims that they were given were not valid. Like my mom was extremely emotionally abusive, mentally, spiritually, all the things you can't measure. We did get beatings, but that was obviously kind of the way of the world back then. But my aunt, she got upset with my mom and decided like the way I'm going to pay her back is I'm going to call CPS on her. So we had to go under a full investigation and, it was invasive. I will not lie, but at the end of the day, it was unfounded. And because of that, nothing ever came of it. So I want to tell you that regardless of whether or not your mom calls the police on you, whether she calls CPS, at the end of the day, the truth is going to prevail. So you don't have to worry about the threat of those things. Honestly, anybody can call the police or CPS on you. So I want you to take that power away from just your mom and your brother if he's involved in it, because they don't have the sole power to like sick those people on you. That's something that the public can do. Like I could get mad at you and decide that I'm gonna call CPS on you one day. But I want you to know that if you're not doing anything wrong when it comes to your children, nothing's going to be found. So it might be a hard journey for you to go through. It's going to be emotional if they decide to do it. But at the end of the day, you will prevail. And I say all that to say that the fear of what your mom could do is controlling you. I can see it in the message. And as I'm reading it, I'm just like, she's holding on because she's scared. Like, almost as if I have to stay up to date about what antics this person is doing and what they have going on, what they cooking up, so that I can protect myself from the outcomes of those antics. And that's not true, honey. That is not true. God protects us, okay, from danger seen and unseen. So ultimately giving that to him and getting to a space where you can walk freely and know that they're going to be crazy, they're going to do what they want to do, but I'm going to live in peace, and I'm not going to keep being, controlled and puppeteered by what my mom has going on. So that's definitely what I want you to do. And then also, you have a family, sis. Like, we got to protect the family. So I don't know what your husband's values are around mothers, and what that kind of thing is, but obviously he is seeing these actions happen, and you all need to get to a space where y'all are collectively on the same page about how y'all are going to navigate this, because you all deserve peace. So I say all that to say, definitely keep me updated. Ask me more questions if you feel like I didn't quite answer exactly what you wanted me to. Feel free to hit us up for therapy, because I would love to work with you. And take care of yourself. Take care of that baby boy, and spend your time not counting your problems with your mom, but just embracing the blessings that God has given you, because that baby boy and your husband are definitely a way out, and I want you to take it. All right, so thank you so much for joining us for an episode of Ask Dr. Dylesia. If you have any questions for me that pertain to mother-daughter relationships, to conflicts, to trauma, to wounding, make sure to drop them down below in the comments, or you can put them on Instagram. We'll see them anywhere that you see me existing on the social media space. We will collect those questions and I will answer them. So thank you so much for watching today, and stay tuned for another episode next time. Thank you. Bye.